how these jobs are supposed to be ventilated properly. Now, was that yours or mine? Did you get this one? I got a laminated copy of this for you. Okay. First of all, what we use, and we'll get it downloaded to your phone for you, and Matt will also put it on your iPad for you. What did I say, Beacon?
Oh, no.
Well, it is the hover. But it started out, it was Beacon, because the supplier, one of the largest suppliers in the United States, is a company called Beacon. And then they buy up like ABC Supply, they bought out like Lee Wholesale. I don't know if you know, you seem familiar with Square Deal. It wasn't them, but it was a group down in Florida who owns, 25 other suppliers. So these guys, they gobble up all these mom and pops. Well, Beacon was one of the huge ones, and the reason they started this app was so that basically, if you went out and took pictures of the house, the idea was they could order windows, siding, and roofing, just by walking around and taking the pictures and doing the math with everything. I don't really know what happened to Beacon, but Hover was I'm assuming the company that was doing all the computer work for them and putting it all together. And sounds like for some reason Beacon may have backed out, now it's just Hover. This is actually
just a supply company.
Right, that's what I said.
Yeah, they didn't back out of anything. They're just a supply company that put their name on the fucking app that Hover made.
Oh, is that how it was? Okay.
They just paid for it. Just like if we direct market or fucking get our name printed on underlayments or something.
Right.
That's how they do it.
Okay. Well, whatever the scenario may be, it's just Hover now. This is actually that one I was out on Saturday. And you can see there's really no crawling around on that fucking roof. But basically what you do, you see this one here is still processing, because he took the pictures and he sent it in, and now he's waiting for for it to come back. See, Tara, Brandon, Ross. Okay. This is in Roseville. So you take all the pictures. Basically what you do when you take the pictures, you have to walk all around the house. You can see there's the front picture. That was that looks like that was a window. From a window appointment me and Dan had. Now must be going to a roof. But then you take the side corner, take the side of the house. You can see here he's taken, the reason you see the underneath pictures because he's taking pictures of the soffits. The reason we want to get pictures of the soffits all the way around is so when it goes into production, he can identify a couple things. First of all, is 6 feet of ice, or 3 feet or 6 feet of ice and water shield going to be enough? Okay, is there proper intake ventilation on the house itself? Is it existing, or do we truly need to add? And obviously that's why we go after you guys with and count on you guys to take the right photos. So if you notice, they're taking photos around all the corners of the house.
From those photos,
from those photos, what ends up happening? Let's see if I can. Let's get this one a little easier. See, there's your underneath soffits again. But you can see that's actually a wood soffit. There's one of those cornice vents right there. Well, there's going to need to be.
Yeah.
So if this job gets sold and it gets into production and he doesn't have, you know, hey, I need 8 more of these 8x16 vents on there to properly ventilate it, he's going to know, well, what about the ventilation? Where's the intake, guys? Come on. Okay? Because what ends up happening is, you know, you sell a job, it goes into production, he looks at it. Without it getting into details, it gets installed. Now all of a sudden it comes back from the, you know, the inspector goes out there and goes, where's the ventilation?
Did you guys take
Decline.
some of this to the show?
Okay, so now we're going back and scrambling to try to get these houses taken care of.
Yeah.
So
Maybe.
what needs to be done is you as a salesman have to identify again what ventilation needs to be put on these homes.
Right here, on the new version, they're white.
Now once
This
that's,
is in my old pack, so I called Steve, he goes, yeah, I brought black. We got nothing like this. He's looking into it.
Okay.
But this one here, I don't see any samples back there. Did you move any boxes or take anything back there?
Everything that's back there has been there. I haven't changed, touched anything. I didn't even want to.
what are you looking for, Dale?
Camden Point, the new.
I didn't think we were going to be doing that one. Was that the 044? Because I thought we were going to do
It is the 044.
the Ashton Heights and the Quest, or not Quest, the
Builder's Choice or?
no, the
Contractor's
big one.
Choice?
Vortex.
Vortex, thank you. The Ashton Heights is the 4.2, and then the Vortex is the 4.6.
All right.
Yeah, so we shouldn't probably even be getting those 4 4s.
Right. That's because that's a 4.4.
And then are you offering the phone back?
Yeah, they have a.
We should offer it.
Yeah, we have it.
Yeah, Airform's got it.
That's why I try to build my samples.
Oh, okay.
So when you guys sell stuff, I can look at it like somebody sold something and tell me which manufacturer.
I know, man. Fuck that guy.
Go on. He wouldn't do that to me.
Who did that? Me? Oh. Our fearless leader. Come on.
We have a contractor who was limitless, and Rick calls him limited. Very limited.
He's got a guy for you.
I have plenty of workers right now.
Siding too.
Yeah, I got all the siding guys. I have to blow my phone up right now.
Are they?
Yeah. So.
Good, get him down to the price.
I don't know the name of his company, but his last name's Tomes. It's out of Romeo.
Don't know. I'm sure he's
His
busy.
dad started it. I seen him last night. He said that it can always handle more work.
Yeah, that's what they always say, and then I get them scheduled on the job and they don't show up because they're still tied up on their other job. Now I look like an idiot. But I get it. When I start needing, I'll start asking.
Cool.
Alright, but I got a list of people that have called in. Price ain't gonna go down, Dave.
Damn it. Work on it.
Sorry. Look, what do you want me to do? Go out and do the installs too?
No, fucking chew them down.
Chew
Or
them
shh, don't say that.
You got all them
Chew them down.
Dude, just to go there.
Put them all in a room and go, who wants to work? Okay, my starting prices are at.
Here, Dave, let me ask you a question.
Have them bid.
When you cut the price, you cut the quality. You want the quality to come down?
If they all
Wait, that was a question, not a statement. Do you want the quality to come down, yes or no?
No, but if they don't have any work, then they're gonna bring the pricing down so they can stay busy.
And then they're gonna hack up our fucking jobs, and then we're gonna get a bad name again.
Why would they hack up our jobs?
Because they're hacks. If you can't control them, you can't control them.
There you go, there's one over here, right?
Well, I'll do whatever I'm told to do, but I'm not gonna bring a bunch of hacks in here like
No,
that.
I'm not saying to bring in.
But the in-house crews, yeah, they're expensive, but they're doing an awesome job.
Yeah, it does.
I guess you gotta sacrifice one for the other.
So again, just to see everything. Like, this might even be Union Park there, huh? 'Cause did they do those?
Yeah.
Because they did those and some of the carports and everything where they tied them right into the house.
What's the address on it?
Let's see.
Hello?
Bonaventure Drive.
Yes, sir.
Camelot.
Well, it's Camelot. Okay. And they from somebody, didn't they?
No.
You rapid development in Camelot too?
He's going back to river,
Okay.
free and clear. They collect like 600,000 a month in lot rent.
Oh, I know. There was an article, this was like, I started out in mobile homes. When I was 18, I worked for a company. I'd just be in their lot boy, cutting the grass and vacuuming the houses out and everything. And, you know, then they started getting parts, you know, coming in.
Okay.
You know, the guy that was supposed to be doing all of it was busy putting the homes to get set in the homes. And I said, what? I can do this. Pull a couple of battens off, put the board on, put the fans back on, you know. So we'll give it a try. So I did, you know, next thing you know, they're like, oh, we'll fix this. And they're like, hey, you're handy. We're going to put you on I'm going to hire a guy and he's going to teach you how to set the houses. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, so shit. By the time I was 20 years old, I was running a setup crew. And
I was park manager at Camelot for like 3 years.
oh, yeah. My earliest beginnings, you remember the guy named Cal?
He's full of shit.
Probably not. You're probably too
He's
young.
full of shit.
He was a guy who had a voice box.
I said he's full of shit.
He's a dick. He's the biggest dick in the world.
But
But anyway. I was kind of looking for the range, but. Okay, so.
fuck, man, you can't fucking do that and fucking set something up for tomorrow because we're already booked. I mean, we're booked up for tomorrow, and everybody keeps resetting shit and putting them in different days, and you gotta check our
So you
schedule
can
first
see.
before we reset these.
You get your
hey,
picture.
fucking, I'm sitting on 2 6 o'clock sessions.
And then you're gonna have a report like this, okay?
You said it's in Livonia?
Now,
Yeah, I would just hit your 5 and
see
then head there
here,
afterwards.
that's
I guess.
the area of the home, of the attic.
So,
Okay.
yeah, we just gotta put
So-
stuff around. If something happens and I can fill the 5, I will.
Or
But
not the attic,
I mean,
I
I'm
should
already
say
sitting on 2 other ones.
the plane of the roof. So straight up, that's 912 feet, if you were to go up there and take
Yeah.
the measurements, okay?
Yeah, we gotta check
Then
the
you go down
schedule,
here
we
and
gotta
obviously
see
you're gonna
what we're already
say,
got.
well, okay, how
You know
much
what I'm saying?
waste do I add
And
to it?
rearrange, you know,
Okay.
when we get those and we're writing them, we just gotta set them up.
On a little gable like
Okay.
this, you could probably get away with the
No.
10%er, okay?
So, alright, just keep
so
me in the
that's
loop with
10
it, try to
and
get
a
to that
third,
5 a little early and then
15%,
figure it out, but if I can
that's
fill
still
it
10
out.
so if you look at that
Right.
one and you say, is that, say 10 and a third? Yeah. So it's never, you never go by the third. That 10 and a third goes to 11, okay? So the fact that I bump it up to 15% and it just goes to 10 and 2/3, 11. Now I'm at 20%, look at that number, 11. Okay, so 11 square is what that job needs when you include waste. So you got 11 square. Now, there's 2 things you always have to add for. Number 1 is capping, okay? So you know, capping comes in bundles of 30 feet, okay? So, maybe you're familiar with roofing. It's 3 bundles per square. Okay, 1 square is a 10 by 10 area, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So, with capping, it just so ends up that 3 bundles equals 90 feet, which is 1 square, okay? So when you look at your capping, it's going to say hips and ridges, okay? Because a hip would be a hip roof like this. So that number is going to include the cap you need for these areas too. So, ridges and hips. Obviously there's no hip on here, but there are 2 ridges. That total comes out to 36, okay? Well, if my bundle's 30, I gotta add another bundle that's 60, because I gotta have that other bundle, okay? I'm not gonna make 2/3, oops. I'm not gonna say 2/3, okay? I'll make it a square. So I need a square capping. Now, starter. What you're gonna see for starters, you're gonna see rakes and eaves, okay? The rake is this area, going up and over, and then your eaves, as we talked earlier, is where your gutters go or your soffit is, okay, the eave edge. So we need to put starter strip on. So on a job like this, we're going to do starter strip up and down, over, across. We're going to put it everywhere. Wherever that shingle has to start or end or whatever, or on the side, needs a starter strip. Starter strip comes in bundles of 90. Okay? There's 90 feet per bundle. 3 bundles equals 1 square. So get your calculator. You got a rake and an eave. Rake, you have 89.5, so that's 90, plus 49.8, which is 50. Right, it's got 140. Divide that by 90. So you need 1.5, so you need 2 bundles. 3 bundles, all right? Bump it up. So, we got 11 square with waste. We got a square capping, square starter. So I got 13 square that I have to charge for. Okay, these would be my net, my charges. Okay, so if I was to sit there and figure the job out, how much per square, bam, 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 you know, I'm going to go off of 13 square. Okay, is there 2 layers? Well, we charge $30 for a second layer. Okay, so 13 times 30. It's $3.90. So that would be my charge for 2 square. I mean for 2 layers. Now,
Per square.
no, it's $30 per square.
Got it.
So times 13 makes it $3.90. So for a second layer, or we're only I mean, it's not a crazy price. So don't ever be afraid to show somebody a tear-off price, because our second layer tear-off isn't a bad price. Now, obviously, you see the pitches. There's also a pitch charge that would go into this one if you were figuring it out by hand. And we'll get into that a little bit more at another time. But the biggest thing, how to identify the ventilation. Okay, first of all, when we look at this job,
Is that a skylight?
it's probably a chimney, but it could be a skylight, yes. We'll find out here in a second. So, at the end of the day, what I want is my roof area. So that's 912. So, that little worksheet that you got right there. So, actual area, 912. Okay, divided by 4. Okay, you divide your actual area by 4, and you're going to get your intake and your exhaust. 228, so there's your intake, and then 228, there's your exhaust. Okay, pretty simple, right? Divided by 4. Now, you can see here, this was prior to us having the app figured out. So you would do kind of what I did. Area plus waste, we got 912. We add the 10, so that's 11. So you put 11. And then you figure out your hip and ridge. We come up with 1. Rakes and eaves, we came up with 1 bundle of starter. Add those together, and you get your 13 square. Okay. This is all set up again so that you can do it by hand. So you can do the pricing by hand. We actually just started doing the 3D off the computer. So there's a couple of things, and I'll show you how to do that right now, but there's a couple of things that you have to look for. First of all, when you're figuring out, when you're doing the program, you have to see what type of chimney, how many chimneys, and do we need a cricket? Are you familiar with a cricket? If that's the chimney back there, a cricket or a saddle is like that, so it diverts the water. You know, so as the water comes down, it kicks it out of the way. If you don't have one, you should put one in. If it's a 2-foot chimney or under, which you're not going to see under a 2-footer, usually they're 2 foot and bigger. So I always tell her, just put a cricket in there. Let's just do it right. So when you're sitting with the customer, all that water beats down up against that chimney and it's probably wearing away on it after all these years. What we like to do is install a cricket back there, because snow and ice can build up back there, and that usually ends up being one of the vulnerable places on your roof. We don't want that to happen, so we're going to put a cricket which diverts the water. What do you think most people will tell you when you're putting it on their house? Makes sense. Let's do it. So you have to identify whether or not that chimney needs a cricket. Now, you also need to know how many chimneys there are, and the size, which again, that's a small chimney, for flashing. We tear the roof off where that ties into the roof, we've got to put a flashing on it. So we're gonna need to charge flashing on that. Now, if you notice on the ridges on this front portion here, and we'll see if the guy got a picture or not, but I could actually put those cornice vents in there, because it's just a flat up. It doesn't work that way. It's just a flat up aluminum soffit. See, they didn't take a picture. Now, there we go. So we got a chimney, we got the satellite dish, we got a skylight, so there is a charge for just reflashing a skylight. But if you notice, see that gutter's right up against the house?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to put intake on there?
Right.
I can't, I gotta go to the edge vent. And I know I didn't really get into how the edge vent works, which I should take a second, I guess, and show you. So find your piece of edge vent. Basically what it is, you can see it's like a bat wing, okay? And about right here, about 6 inches up from the bottom of the roof, there's a spot where the air can actually flow through that piece and into the attic space. So what they have to do, first of all, they take ice and water shield, they put the ice and water shield down, and then they cut a little strip, okay, about 6 inches up off the bottom of the roof, about an inch, inch and a half. Okay, and then they install that on top, and what that does is the air goes through the bottom portion of the vent, it comes into that cavity, and it's able to suck right into the roof. Okay, so, I mean, whoever came up with that's fucking, I mean, that was a fucking genius, genius move. I wish I would have thought about it. I had something a little bit different that was in my mind, but it went behind a gutter. You'd have to pull the gutters off and put them on, and it was vented from underneath, and then it would make its way in. And then this came out, and like most of my roofing ideas, just went to shit.
It's not about having the ideas, but what you do with them. Just saying.
Huh?
So it's not about having the ideas, what you do with them.
Yeah, okay.
When you don't do anything with them, then they go to shit.
Then they're not an idea anymore?
No, there's no idea.
Okay.
They
I
can't,
said I had an
they
idea.
can't turn into nothing.
I said I had an idea.
You got a bunch of them.
I got a bunch. I do have a bunch. I actually have a patent. But when you don't have the money, you fucking don't do your shit, right? But anyway, so we can identify the fact that there's the gutter's right on the back of the eave, so we have to install the edge vent. And like I said, it just basically acts as a soffit overhang, and it's just a way for the money or for the air to flow in. So we know we got to put that on the back edge of that roof. I don't see a pipe on that bastard. Must be in the front. You know what I'm talking about, right? Soil pipe. And that's why I say these fucking roofs are jacked. But as long as you put the edge vent on there, inspector will pass it. He don't know that it flows through the attic. He don't even fucking care. Obviously, it looks like they may have a ridge vent on there already. Okay, which is something that you also need to identify. There it is. Okay, so it's on the front of the house. Now, we can obviously put our cornice vents in there, or we can put, the problem with putting a edge vent on this front one is you want to stay away from that valley. You don't want all that valley running, over the top of the intake all the time. So you'd have to stay away. My recommendation to the customer would, hey, let's put 3 of those cornice vents in, okay, and go from there. So, with that in mind, where's the paper you had? There you go. So, the cornice vent, 8 by 16. How much air does it allow in? I'll give you that one sheet. That's always. Why is your shit always at the bottom?
56.
Okay. So, take your intake number, which is how much? 228
Yep.
divided by 56.
We need 4 of them.
So you'd need 4 of them. Okay. Now keep in mind that's for the whole house. So realistically, all I need to do is put how many in here?
2.
No 2 in there. 1 would probably be suffice to ventilate the house, but I want to make sure that we. Yeah, and not only that, but you know, hey, again, you can put a little more in there, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
Okay, so I would put in the front of this house, I would be identifying with the customer, hey, I'm gonna put 2 of these in the front, and you know, it's just a flat out straight piece of metal that somebody came down and then made the bend this way, went down, and then they put their thing, the typical 50s siding guy, you know, way of method of doing it, okay? They didn't know anything about ventilation, much like Dale today.
Through that stuff, I know what you're missing, because I don't think everything's there.
No, I think they said that there's still a couple.
So we're gonna need 2 of those.
I don't even want
We
to
can
start
cut a
putting
ridge
stuff
in,
in my bag,
okay.
and I got nothing to put them in.
Now, the question is do I ventilate that?
No.
Okay, why not?
Because you gotta have equal ventilation. top
Okay,
and
that's
bottom.
one thing, absolutely.
My other guess would be the weathering, you know, the water flow off
Okay.
that.
Not so much of that, but where's my intake?
Well, you're not gonna have one there.
There's no intake on that, right? Now, here's the other thing. If I were to put ridge vent on the top of there, okay, now, what did that turn that into?
To have heat above there, it's gonna be circulating to the closest route.
Well, no, what's gonna happen is this is gonna turn into intake.
Right.
Because it's gonna wanna exhaust out the top and then you have that there, so that would make intake, so no ridge vent on that,
Right.
okay? Which, now this is gonna make now you have to do a couple of calculations before you go into your measure as well. But the purpose of this exercise is to identify how much of what we need. Okay, so we got 228, so that tells me 4, so I'll put 2 in there. So I'm halfway there. Now, my edge vent is going to go in the back. Let's say I only need 7 feet. Okay, am I going to put a 7-foot piece in there? No. I'm going to sell it
All the way across.
the whole thing so that it's cosmetically appealing. So, with that in mind, let's go back. Oops. Create estimate. So I'm going to go here and hit get started. Now looking at this, it asks full roof or partial roof. Obviously on this one it'd be a full roof. Let's say they had a little patio off the back with a aluminum or just the outdoor Florida room stuff. And I don't want to include that. I would click partial roof, and then it would bring me to the area where it would where I could separate that particular one and click that to make sure that it's not in my quote. Okay, so we're going to do a full roof next. Okay, now we already talked about this, 10%, 15%. On this one, it really doesn't matter, but we're going to do a 10%. Now, how many layers are on there? There's going to be 1 layer. So Dave, maybe that's something. Since the layers are included in the price, would we only click the 1 layer if there's actually 2? You get what I'm saying? Because we're tearing off anyway, right?
No,
And that's in our price.
no. Only if you put 1 layer.
I thought you had it all figured into the price. Or not
Yeah,
on the program.
when you pick 1 layer,
So if I take no layers,
then it's not a tear out. You're not being charged for the tear out. What if the customer's tearing it out? What if it's new construction? What if it's a recon?
what if I want to keep my price down?
Then you'll get whacked on the back and you'll end up paying for it.
I'm just asking.
I'm just saying.
I don't know how you set it up, so I'm just asking. All right, so we got one layer. If you had two layers, obviously you put two. We're just going to assume for this we got one layer. Block existing vents. Okay.
I didn't see,
Well, it's typically, like I said, on the bungalows. I'll leave it up to Dale. I won't